This particular demo is on wood, which is the prime thing that woodworkers need to rely on. So what kind of woods we talking about, how we want to use the woods, everything. So wood is literally from all over the world, but we can make something very simple. This is very simple. Okay, so if I want to make a chessboard or a checkerboard, it doesn't take basically 2 types of wood, 3 if you want to make it pretty. It's just a normal field. You can even get pre-done veneers in checkerboard. So all you have to do is glue this to a substrate. However, eventually as you woodwork, you're going to want to do a project that you're really proud of. I won't say a masterpiece, but something you really put yourself into. Like my chessboard here. Now, this has got 2 woods in it. It's got a very rare wood, which is curly purple heart. And it's also got quilted maple. Both of these woods came in months, maybe years apart. You walk down the aisle, you see a beautiful piece of wood, it says, I like that, I'm going to make something out of that. You buy it, you put it in your shop, and you forget about it and keep going. But when you're ready to make something really good, you'll have those types of woods. So like I said, this is curly purple heart. It's pretty rare. Got many layers of lacquer finish on it. Maple. Now, when you look at this stuff without finish, it doesn't look very impressive. So a lot of times, we don't notice the beauty of the wood until we put a finish on it. Sometimes it's not possible to put a finish on it. So if you're going out to look at wood, and it's been sanded, surface, so that it's very easy, take a little spray bottle of water with you. And you can spray the wood and you will instantly see what it will look like if you put a finish on it. And then the water goes away. Even better than water is alcohol. You can spray a little alcohol. Any type is, please don't use good whiskey, but any type of rubbing alcohol, that stuff is good because it'll evaporate right away. But they will show you what the wood is going to look like. But this is, for everyday stuff, this is all we basically need. This wood here, one is from the United States, one's from another country. So those are basically our choices. Wood from the United States, wood from another country. The wood from another country gives us things we just can't see in this country and really makes a nice addition to the little tools we have at shop as far as making really nice products. Wood that's not from this country, we're not sensitized to. So if there's any woods that are going to give us an allergic reaction, it's woods from other countries because we're not used to them. Cocobolo is a particularly wood that's really going to hit us with allergic reactions. So one of the best things I can recommend to you is that you get a book like this, Woods Identification and Uses. There are all kinds of books like this. It is an excellent book. This is a better book if you're looking on what you can do with the woods and how they work in machine and stuff like that. It's got more information for using the woods and what's available to you. Very good. This is my favorite because this has got something that this one doesn't have, and this is health risks. So, when I think of health risks, remember I told you about wood from other countries? This is English yew, or European yew. Pretty wood, nice wood. It's very popular for people that make bows. English yew is what the English longbow is made out of. It's a fantastic wood for that. In this country, there is its cousin, Pacific yew. Same type of wood, very good wood. However, in this book, when we look at the yew, this wood, if you inhale the dust of this, so when you're sanding and putting up big clouds of dust, and you inhale the dust, headaches, nausea, fainting, intestinal irritation, visual disturbances, lung congestion, reduced blood pressure, highly toxic to humans and cattle. Doesn't look that bad, but it is. Okay? So anytime you deal with wood from another country, even in Pacific, it was worse. I mean, it's much worse. So it's good if you're going to use wood you've never used before to have something like these books. This is my favorite because it's the one that has the health risks. This is better for everyday woodworking because you're going to get nice pictures with a stain and without a stain, not a stain, a finish. You're going to get all kinds of stuff about key characteristics, how they work in the workshop, what it's going to do to your edges of your tools, that kind of stuff. I mean, this for an average woodworker, this is perfect because it got the same stuff plus the health risks. So I would highly recommend whatever book you have, it's got some kind of indication if there's a health risk. This is the store's, this is mine. And if we don't have any of these, we can order these for you. But this is good. If you're not sure how to work the wood, you never would it. We've got books like this. How to choose lumber for projects. It's going to show you all kinds of stuff, not just the wood itself, but what to do with the bloody things. Okay? These are sample packs, and this is the sample pack that we sell. All kinds of woods that woodworkers will use. These are the woods that you'll probably be able to get with no problem. These are woods from America. These are woods from other countries. Okay? So you can get these, but these mainly have to be ordered. But if you're ever sitting around bored one day and you're thinking about different projects and different woods you could use and woods that people most likely haven't seen before, this is where you want to go. Here's our Bubinga, Jatoba, Sapelli. Sapelli is mahogany. It's just the mahogany family, it's just a different name. It's very, very close. Another very common wood that we use, also from a foreign country, but this we use everywhere, is Spanish cedar. Spanish cedar is not cedar. It's mahogany. It's in the mahogany family. It's grown, the bulk of it comes from Mexico to the top of South America and the islands. And that's used for cigar humidors. It's really popular because it is the best wood to store cigars in. This is the European wood, but here's a wood from West Africa. But I like this, the yellow color and the curl. You won't find this in any American wood. So if you want to add something unique to your woodworking, this would be a good one. Now, without these samples, you will never picture that in a book all day long, and you won't see this. You'll just see a flat picture in a book. With this sample pack, especially from these people here, you can get this wood. You can get it on board foot lumber and it's shipped to you. You won't use this for everyday stuff, but if you ever come across a thing, I want to make a masterpiece work and I want something that's a little different. This is Australian walnut. We'll curl to it. In the American stuff, I want to point out this. Wood that's got beautiful ambrosia maple, okay? It's a beautiful wood. It's my favorite wood. I make most of my stuff, especially my humidors, out of this stuff. I really like it. This is somewhat rare. This is curly ash. Normal ash looks like this. Curly ash looks like this. Difference, because the curl in this reflects the light different than the curl in this doesn't have any. So that's why you've got these dark lines, because of how the light's being reflected back. Because that means the grain is going like a wave, which means this, you're probably a card scraper, because when you cut or try to plane this, you're going to get a lot of tear. So all this grain is running from top to bottom, but this curl is across. Okay? But this is the same wood. It's just that this one's curly, this one's not. These are all American wood, so they're fairly easy to find. But what I want to show you is this. This is an exaggeration, but I have another one too. This is a white oak flake cut, and this is designed to show us the nice pores, the nice grain. Okay, this is a walnut burl. A burl has got the grain running every which way but loose. These are not flat. By their cut them this thin, they'll warp. Okay, these, if you're going to use them as veneers, you've got to flatten these. And to flatten them, you use a veneer flattener. You put them between pieces of plywood with some paper towels, and you compress the snot out of them, and you do it over. And then they'll be flat. You've got a half a day to put this on a board with glue, because after half a day, this is going to dry out enough, it's going to start to curl again. And if it's curled, it'll never be flat. The wood will split, and you'll have a terrible veneer. So know that when you look at these things, they should remind you that if I'm going to use this, if I found some beautiful walnut burl, it's going to be curly, and it's going to be tough to work, because the wood's going to want to tear out. So when you get this down to the finish, you're going to be using a card scraper to get all the tear out, and then you're going to be using a high grit sandpaper to flatten the little tracks from the card scraper. What these are is that this is the wood that's available to you. Everybody knows about maple, cherry, walnut, and oak. But what about the others? This pile, again, is all in this country. These are much, much easier to get than, that's walnut burl, a maple burl. These are much, much easier to get, and they're not as expensive. This is sassafras, otherwise called American lacewood. So, European lacewood, if you use sassafras, American sassafras, you're going to, when you look at the light reflecting off, you're going to get the same little effect that lacewood will give you. So, I highly, highly recommend these things, because this will open up doors you haven't seen before. There's wenge, or wenge. I'll show you another neat one in here. This is one of the ones that if you put a grain filler on, and then you put a high gloss finish on it, this stuff is just breathtaking. You can lose yourself in the reflection of this. So, and this is much easier to pronounce, Makor Matal from Africa. So I highly recommend to add this stuff to your woodworking quiver, that you go ahead and get one of these sample packs. The sample packs, like I say, come in 50 or 25. 50 right there that I've got. But they'll come like this. And basically, this is in your shop, you're thinking about a project, you're thinking about the different woods that are available to you. Just imagine how they would look. When I bought each of these pieces of wood, I was not thinking chessboard. I was thinking, this is a really beautiful piece of wood. I know I can use this in the future. And I was sitting down playing chess one day on this, which is about 55 years old. And I thought, I can do better than this. So I made a first one out of curly maple and curly walnut. It's in my son's house now. So this one I made for me, because my daughter doesn't like to play chess. But it's a very, very beautiful wood. It's once you've got a good wood, you'll find out you take your time, and these things aren't that particularly hard to do. I had leftover maple, so it became the banding. And it came out really pretty. So when you're ready to do a nicer piece, it's really going to help you to know what woods are out there that you can work with. Look at this piece of wood. This is a bowl. So what? This is not just any bowl. This is from a white oak tree that sat outside my daughter's bedroom window when she was born till when she was about 30 years old. And then we had to have the tree taken down. So I had the guy save me chunks of it, and I made 2 bowls out of the chunk of the tree. And she's got one at her house, and we got one at our house. But this is an example of how the ground the tree grew in affects the wood. You don't normally see dark bands in white oak, but the ground it was in, the minerals are in the ground, the minerals that the tree brought up changed it, made it unique. Look at this. So even though something says white oak or something says red oak or walnut, every piece of wood is going to be different. No white oak pieces are the same unless they're from the same tree or from the same exact little area. But even a difference of 100 yards can make a difference in what's in the tree, because that's going to pull up all the minerals it can. One of the reasons teak is so hard is that's one of the few woods that pull silicon up like crazy. And that's what makes teak so hard, so good on boats, and so tough to cut, because you're cutting basically rock embedded in the wood, and that's why your tools dull so quickly. Another nice thing about white oak is you can work with it. If you can look up here, in the block of wood, there was a big crack. So I filled the crack with CA glue, thin CA glue, and just built it up. You let it dry for a while, you shoot the thing, and then you set it aside for at least 24 hours. Give the glue time to dry. So you can't tell from here. If I hold this up to the light, you can see it. Yeah. But that's full with glue. That's full of clear glue.
So you did layers.
Just fill all the way up.
You do a layer cure. On the layer.
I start filling it up till it bubbles up at the top, and then what I do is I hit it with the activator, and that causes a cascade chemical reaction right down through the glue. And then after I do that, I pour more glue in there, because when this glue reacts, it shrinks just a little. I put more glue in there, and I do the same thing. But yeah, I want it to go deep, and I want it to spin the same. So can't see it from this side, but you can see it from this side. So even though wood's got cracks in it, if it's a really and you want to save it, this is one of the tools you have in your little quiver. You can put the CA glue in there, let it harden, and then you can machine the wood normally. This I got, and this was in it. This didn't fall and break. This was in it. I just thought I gave it character. I got this wood because this is a very unusual wood. This is called camel thorn. Camel thorn is an African wood. If you've ever seen pictures of the African plains, and there's that one tree all by itself that really got the little flat top, the one the giraffes love. Even though they eat it, I don't know why they call it camel thorn. This is it. This is the only tree in the world that will send a tap root to collect water up to 100 feet below the surface. 100 feet is the same distance as a 10-story building. Okay? This wood is very dense. It holds on to all the water it can get. This is a really beautiful wood to work with and use, and I absolutely love it. But, pass that around. Only found in the plains of Africa. So if you want to do something unique, that's a beautiful wood. It's dense, it's beautiful, it's got a beautiful color. The only thing that's on that is just a gloss finish. And I left the boo-boo in there on purpose because I liked it. My cleaning lady and I have problems. I put it with on the shelf with the crack out, and she dusts and she puts a crack in, and I come by and I put it out, and we just keep on going. This is a really neat wood. This is Brazilian cherry. This little piece of Brazilian cherry. I turned it. This is what you call a weed pot. Also, what I do, I put on the desk and I put a pin in there. So it's so you can make a neat little pen holder. For Christmas time, I was experimenting. After I put a lacquer finish, I put a decal. So you can use decals for your wood, but I like this wood. This is a nice dense wood. It's very easy to work. It's up there in hardness. It's one of those ironwoods. If you put that in the water, it would sink. Camel thorn, if you put it in the water, it would float, as were any of these. So expand your horizons a little bit. This is Alphasia burl. So Alphasia burl, didn't need much of it because I made a pin out of it. This yellow wood right here is yellow heart. This black stuff right here is just black veneer. It's just birch dyed black. And you put them all together and you get a nice piece of artwork. The burl wood for the top and the bottom, the inlay with the yellow heart and the black veneer. This is one of my favorite woods. This is incredibly light. This is in the area of balsa light. This is called Buckeye burl. And Buckeye, what I like about it is when you sand it and you put a nice finish on it, it looks like marble. I just love the way it looks. And the finish on that is just a regular pin finish. That's shellac, many layers of shellac and wax. Cutting boards, end grain, yes. Chessboards, end grain, no. Because I want to show the curl and I want to show the quilted. End grain is not curly and end grain is not quilted, only side grain. So if you want to show the grain, show the beauty of it, how nice it looks with the quilt or the whatever, it's got to be side grain. Cutting board's a whole different matter. So board, I'm not using beautiful wood. I'm using dense woods or medium density woods. I'm not going to waste beautiful side grain like this on cutting boards, even long grain cutting boards, because if you start cutting it over time, it's going to slice the wood up. No, that's for nice projects. You want people to look at it and go, ooh and ow. Also important to have your little water square, because you might see a piece of like this, oh, that's some quilted to it. That looks okay. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a little walrus oil. I'll give you two types of finish that I like. And after this dries, if you want to keep the luster up, every once in a while you put a little bit of this furniture wax on it. But this is the actual furniture finish. This is the oil. And the oil is the one that's going to go in there and make this really, really good. Wipe that off. So while we could tell this was curly, and we went, oh well, yeah, that's okay, that's curly. Now, since this is wet, it's really going to look beautiful. Do this so it won't drip on me. So if you go to a lumber yard and you've got a little squirt bottle of water or alcohol, you can, this will pop up and give you an idea of what you're looking at, because this is just flat gorgeous. In addition to that, it's walnut. Okay. This is one of those woods that if you put an oil in, I think walnut really needs to have an oil finish, because it just adds a little bit of amber to it that really makes it beautiful. And this is another type of finish. This is called Odie's oil. And I really, really like it. With Odie's oil, a little bit goes a long way. Where's my little... I'll use this now. Odie's oil, in and of itself, is not only it is a indoor-outdoor finish. Now, the Odie's dark is not. The Odie's butter is not. The Odie's wax is not. But the Odie's oil is an indoor-outdoor finish. And a very little bit, you are putting this on and you can see the swirl marks from you putting the oil on. You've still got too much oil in there. Spread it out further. And cold walnut, warm walnut. It really, and this is one of my walnut blocks. This is going to be part of something I'm not sure yet, but I really do like this oil. It really makes it look good. So basically, your choices in wood are limited by the woods in the world. That's limited by who will sell you wood. That's limited by how much you want to pay for the wood. And the bad part about ordering wood from across the pond is that you can't see what it's like when they ship it to you. It might not be a piece that you would have picked. That's why I like to deal with lumber yards. Because when you deal with lumber yards, you've got somebody who's working for you. They know the types of woodworkers like, and they will go to the different places that source those woods, and they will say, we want this, we want that, don't send us this crap anymore. I would highly encourage you to work through a place that can order lumber. We can order you lumber. There's all places all around here that can order you lumber. It's going to be easier for you to get local lumber. Cypress, walnut, cherry, red oak, white oak, maple, ash. Ash has been hit hard in Virginia because of a bug, but I think they're getting it under control. I don't think it's going to go the way of the chestnut. But American chestnut, they're getting ready to replant that. They've crossed it successfully with the Japanese chestnut that is immune to the chestnut blight. And we can get them, it won't be as big and huge as they used to be, but it'll be coming back. But these are just simple ideas. Most problem with most woodworkers is we don't know what we don't know. I would highly encourage you to invest in one of these sample packs. A lot of different places have them. Sowers has this one. Sowers can get the woods that are in their sample pack. So right away you know if there's a wood in there you like, you've got a contact where you can order it from. And we get wood from Sowers. Hint, hint, nod, nod, wink, wink. But this stuff is out there, but unless you see it, and as good as these books are, and as good as these books are with their pictures, this is ink mixed by a printer trying to duplicate a color. This is the actual wood, the actual color of the wood. So this is always going to give you a much better reference than this. This will give you a great deal to choose from. These books here will give you a great deal of wood to choose from, things that you might like to try. And I highly encourage you to try the different types of wood, because this, here's no finish. This is gorgeous. This is really gorgeous. This is a thick, hard wood. Makes great pens too. Makes beautiful pens. White oak, y'all know about. It's just a local wood. We know about our white oaks and red oaks and walnuts. The biggest thing about walnut I can tell you is use an oil finish, because that's going to add an amber cast, and that's going to make the walnut, instead of looking cold, it's going to make it look warm. So when you use a urethane finish or a water-based finish that's no oil in it, just a water-based, doesn't change the color, you're going to get it's going to look pretty, but it's going to be cold like this instead of warm like this. This is lacquer. This is what I did is I took I took brushing lacquer because it's got more solids in it. And I've got my HVLP is a 4-stage, 4 turbines, and it will vaporize this, atomize this with not an issue. It doesn't even work hard to do it. I mean, it's so good, it sprays latex paint without me thinning the paint. So this is about 20 sprays. Then, after everything was said and done, I let it dry for like 30 days because I wanted all the layers. I spray one time, I let it sit 24 hours. So I took about 20 days to spray it. Then let it sit another 20 to 30 days to make sure everything's out. Only then do I want to work the top because everything is solid. I don't have any gushy middles anymore. So I started with water and basically 600 grit, 800 grit, 1200 grit, all hand sanded, no machines, all the way to 2000. And then I started on the polishes. The polishes I could use machines. So I did the polishes. The polishes were easy here, it was easy here, and just right up on this area, you just have to take a rag, a piece of wood, wrap them, and just polish them really well. But it came out really good. And I had this displayed, I guess, maybe a day or two. So the grandchild came over and dropped the glass on it. So that's my mark. I think of Sean and I smile. I mean, not a bloody day. After 2 months of work. Any questions?